الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. In our previous class we had left off reading that which the author he mentioned rahimahullah ta'ala about benefiting from one's time and seeking knowledge and taking advantage of one's strength and one's ability physically and mentally, and likewise one's time whenever he has free time, especially whenever one is young and his body is strong and his mind is sharp and there are few distractions or obligations that would deter him from focusing on learning and the likes. So we continue this portion. He says rahimahullah وَيَنْبَغِي أَنْ يَغْتَنِمْ التَّحْصِيلَ فِي وَقْتِ الْفَرَاغِ والنشاط وحال الشباب وقوة البدن ونباهة الخاطر وقلة الشواغل قبل عوارض البطالة وارتفاع المنزلة. So he says that it's also incumbent and it is incumbent for the student of knowledge to take advantage of striving to obtain knowledge and benefiting from his time whenever he has free time and whenever he has strong ambition and desire and lots of energy, and especially the time whenever he's young and the strength of the body and mind has a sharp and bright mind, and likewise with few distractions before events befall him in his life that will preoccupy him, like trying to search for a job or to search for occupations or to be busy with seeking a living and seeking livelihood for himself or for his family, and likewise before his status is raised, meaning before he obtains a position of leadership and the likes like this, because these things will preoccupy a person and busy him from seeking and obtaining knowledge and from becoming firmly grounded in knowledge. So he says فَقَدْ قَالَ الشَّافِعِي رحمه الله تفقه قبل أن ترأس فإذا رأست فلا سبيل إلى التفقه. He said that you have to strive. He said that indeed As-Salafy, he has said rahimahullah that you must strive to gain an understanding in the religion. تفقه يعني اجتهد في أن تكون فقيها أن تتفقه في الدين, and he strive and make great effort to gain an understanding in the religion قبل أن ترأس, before you obtain leadership. Because if you obtain leadership, then there's no way for you to gain an understanding now. There's no way for you to seek knowledge and strive to gain an understanding now. This statement here by As-Salafy rahimahullah is very similar to what has been narrated from Umar radiyallahu anhu as well. And Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, he mentioned the narration of Umar ta'liqan in his authentic collection in the chapter of knowledge في كتاب العلم باب الاقتباط بالعلم والحكمة, in the chapter about being happy and pleased about obtaining knowledge and wisdom, and he mentioned the narration of Umar radiyallahu anhu that he said تفقهوا قبل أن تسودوا يعني قبل أن تجعلوا سادة, يعني before the people take you as leaders. تفقهوا, that you must strive to gain an understanding and a foundation in the religion and the knowledge of the religion. قبل أن تسودوا, before you are taken as leaders and you are given positions and ranks and status in the society. Al-Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned, and he commenting after this, he says قال Abu Abdullah, meaning himself, Abu Abdullah, he says وبعد أن تسودوا وقد تعلم أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في كبر سنهم. And commenting on this as well, Al-Bukhari, he says, and likewise after you become leaders, or after you become leaders or obtain authority and leadership and the likes like this as well, because indeed the companions, many of them, the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many of them, they learned whenever they were in old age. And so that the statement should not be misunderstood. And there's a proper understanding to these statements, and then there could be a misconception to that likewise. So the point is now to take advantage of one's time in learning and striving to gain knowledge and a strong foundation in the religion before the preoccupations come, and before the distractions come, and before the obligations come that would busy a person and turn him away from seeking knowledge. That will turn him away from seeking knowledge. So this is what is intended in general. And from the statement of As-Shafi'i, and likewise from the statement of Umar radiyallahu anhuma. So to gain an understanding before you receive leadership, before the people take you as leaders, or you obtain a position or status or rank amongst the society. And there's two reasons for this. And either person who obtains a type of leadership or authority, or he has some type of status and rank, these type of positions like this, many times those who reach those levels, this status and rank, will deceive him and trick him. It will deceive him and trick him, and now he will be too arrogant or pride to go back and learn and sit with those who are younger than him or those who are lower than him, and the likes like this. Maybe he reached a high status in society, and the people consider him to be a great teacher or a great scholar, or someone who is a great judge, for example, or somebody who has high rank and status in the society, and this will prohibit him, if he was not careful, from lowering himself and humbling himself and sitting with the students of knowledge, maybe those who are younger than him, maybe those who are lesser than him, or maybe those who have lesser knowledge than him, and the likes like this will prohibit him from sitting in those gatherings to continue learning. So this is one aspect from that he could be exposed to becoming arrogant and be affected by al-kibr, by having this status and rank. And another understanding is that even if he was not affected by this arrogance and the likes like this, but he will be preoccupied. He will not find the time. His time will be exhausted and taken up in the affairs that he is engaged in, and these responsibilities that he has of leadership or of authority or of position or of rank in the society and the likes like this. These things will preoccupy him and prohibit him from having any time to sit and to learn and to review and to memorize and to go over the knowledge and the likes like this. So therefore, for this reason, it's incumbent to learn and take advantage of the young age and whenever a person is free of time. But somebody should not be misled or misunderstood this, and this was the intent from the commentary of Al-Bukhari rahimahullah, that even if a person he became old, or he reached a status or rank, he should still continue to learn, and he should never stop learning. And this is something that likewise he should keep in mind, that although no doubt it will be more difficult and he would have less time and maybe he will be preoccupied, but he will never stop learning if he is sincere and truthful. And this is something likewise that has been narrated from Sa'id ibn Jubayr rahimahullah, from the Tabi'een. He died in the year 95. He says, لا يزال الرجل عالما ما تعلم فإذا ترك التعلم وظن أنه قد استغنى واكتفى بما عنده فهو أجهل ما يكون. That a man, he will continue to be considered a scholar, a person of knowledge, so long as he's seeking knowledge and learning. But if he leaves off learning and seeking knowledge, and he thinks that he has obtained a sufficient amount and he sufficed with the knowledge that he has, then at this time he has become the most ignorant that he ever has been, and the most ignorant he has ever been, and he in the stage of great ignorance, because a person, he will never have enough knowledge, and he will never have a sufficient amount. Rather, he will continue. And likewise, it has been mentioned from Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala that the more he learned, the more knowledge he obtained, and the more firmly he became in the understanding of the religion, the more he realized his own ignorance. And the more he learned about himself, and the more he learned about the knowledge of the religion and the likes, the more he learned that he was ignorant of many more affairs. And this is the case. A person, if he begins to learn, sometimes maybe he would be deceived and think that he obtained a lot of knowledge, but whenever the knowledge is beneficial, it will show him that in reality he only knows a little. And that which he's ignorant of is even more. So the knowledge will inform a person of his own ignorance, and it will be a means to humble him, and also a means to drive him and push him to continue to learn. So Al-Imam Ahmed rahimahullah ta'ala, he was seen going along with the students of knowledge from gathering to gathering, and after going to the scholars of hadith to learn, and many of them around him, maybe they're younger, and the likes like this, and somebody stopped him and seen him, and they said, Hatta mata, ya Ahmed, hatta mata, and until when are you going to be running around with these youth and this pen and paper and gathering knowledge and narration? He said, until I die, hatta amut, and until I die, and I'm going to continue in this manner. And likewise, similar like this has been narrated from Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, that he said he will seek knowledge until he dies, and he does not know if he had heard the benefit that would be a means to save his soul, and the likes like this. So a person, he will not stop seeking knowledge, even if he became old. This will not be an excuse, but no doubt it may be more difficult. But those who are truthful and sincere, Allah, He opens their heart and He makes it easy for them. And it's been mentioned about a number of people who had memorized the Quran after the age of 50. And whenever this was mentioned to Sheikh Abdul Muhsin, he said, and I'm from them. And the likes like this. And some people, they did not have time to dedicate themselves to memorizing entirely the whole Quran until maybe they're older. But if they're truthful and sincere, then Allah will open a way for them and make that easy and make it a reality for them. Even if somebody became preoccupied with different occupations or different obligations and the likes like this, even if it's related to knowledge, then he will still continue to strive to benefit and to learn and to increase in knowledge and go over the knowledge. But the point is, again, is that it could be a means to deter a person. So this has been narrated likewise from Al-Shafi rahimahullah ta'ala, and he says, إذا تصدر الحدث فاته علم كثير. إذا تصدر الحدث فاته علم كثير. That if a young man were to try to take a position of leadership, meaning with knowledge, and to become a teacher, and the likes like this, if a young man were to try to take this position of leadership in knowledge, then he will miss out on a lot of knowledge. And likewise in Ma'mun, he has a similar statement. Ma'mun, he's Abdullah ibn Harun al-Rashid, and he from those khulafa. He died in the year 218, and he from those rulers and those people who had leadership. So wallahu a'lam, he's mentioning from experience. He said, "Man talaba al-riyasata bil-ilmi saghiran fatahu ilmun kathir." That whoever seeks leadership with knowledge while he's young, then he will miss out on a lot of knowledge. Meaning that this leadership and the requirements of leadership and this position and the obligations that come along with that will burden him and busy him and preoccupy him, that he will not be able to dedicate himself in the proper manner to gain an understanding and to become firmly grounded in the knowledge, and therefore because of this he will miss out on a lot of knowledge. Therefore because of this he will miss out on a lot of knowledge. So this is the advice, and this is the intent here. تفقه قبل أن ترأس, and to seek knowledge before you have leadership and position. Because فإذا رأست فلا سبيل إلى التفقه. Because if you reach the position of leadership, then there's no way for you to strive to gain an understanding. And this is not absolutely, but meaning that it will be a great deterrent, and it will be a great distraction, and he will not be able to become firmly grounded in knowledge in this manner. So the issue of leadership is something that's very important, and we see some hints here in these statements that the leadership, it comes by way of التفقه, and it comes by way of seeking knowledge. And this is what some of the people of knowledge, they mention with regards to the statement of Umar, تفقهوا قبل أن تسودوا. يعني تفقه قبل أن تكون سيدا. That's the meaning. تفقه أنت قبل أن تكون سيدا. That you have to strive hard to gain an understanding in the religion and become firmly grounded in knowledge before you become a leader, before you have leadership. And some of the people of knowledge mentioned that the one who gains the knowledge properly and he takes those correct steps, he will become a leader. And this is the case likewise. The leaders, they are the people of knowledge. The people of knowledge, they're the forefronts. They're the A'imma A'immatul Huda, the ulama, they're the Qudwa Hasana for the Ummah and for mankind, and likewise the upright and noble students of knowledge. But the point is now to benefit from that time and to not hasten to reach this before the proper time. And the one who does that, and he's young and he's deceived and he starts to compete for leadership and the likes like this, especially whenever he's young and he has not completed the qualifications of knowledge and being a student of knowledge which has preceded, and he has not reached a strong and steady level in knowledge, then this competition for leadership or even obtaining that leadership will only deter him and cause him to miss out on a lot of knowledge. And maybe that will not be seen in the beginning. But this person, for example, maybe he will study 1 year or 2 years or go overseas and learn the Arabic language a little bit and have some benefit with him. And then if he comes back here and he's chasing the leadership and fighting for leadership and having competition for leadership, and he's going back and forth with this one, and this one gets dropped and that one gets dropped, and this one's refuting that one and that one's refuting that one, what they're doing in reality is just bucking heads. And Sufyan al-Thawri, he mentioned about this, rahimahullah ta'ala. He said, من أحب الرياسة فليعد رأسه للنطاح. من أحب الرياسة فليعد رأسه للنطاح. Whoever has a love for leadership, then let him get his head ready for bucking. And nitah is like headbutting, literally like what the Rams do. So the person who loves leadership, let him get his head ready for headbutting and bucking and going in this manner like this. So this is the case, and this is what would happen. And then if he's not careful, some time will go by, and those individuals who are not tried by that, the whole time while he's bucking heads with this one and that one, and the whole time while he's going back and forth with this one and that one, and the whole time while he's engaged in striving to obtain his chair and his authority or have his leadership or to get that firm, and he's spending all this time and effort in that, the other students of knowledge who are not tried by that, they're building a foundation and they're becoming strong. And then maybe this will be seen later, whenever they return. There will be individuals who return after them, but they had spent their time building a foundation and becoming strong in their religion, while they spent their time bucking heads and arguing and quarreling and debating about who's going to be the leader and who's going to be the return and the likes like this. And then in the end, it's seen that their knowledge is few and that they had wasted a lot of time and that they are not who the people perceive that they were and the likes like this. So this is something that is very important, to not chase after authority in the first place. And leadership in the first place. This is very blameworthy, especially with knowledge, where that will come to a person, if it's chosen for him. That will come to a person, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor him with that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor him with that. He will not chase it. Rather, the people of knowledge, they will run from it. And then they have no choice except it will come to them. And then they will have to hold that and bear that and fulfill that responsibility. Likewise, it's been narrated from Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala. He said, رَأَيْنَاهُمْ يَزْهَدُونَ فِي الطَّعَامِ وَالشَّرَابِ وَالْمَلْبَسِ. That indeed we've seen these individuals, they're being very abstinent, being pious and humble with regards to their food and to their drink and to their clothing. فِإِذَا نُوزِيَ أَحَدُهُمْ الرِّيَاسَةَ نَاطَحَ كَنِطَاحِ الْكِبَاشِ. And if one of them is challenged in his leadership, or if one of them feels like he's challenged in his leadership, then he will start bucking heads like rams. And in meaning this individual, he'll be pious and righteous and he'll be humble and from those people who are devoted in worship. But if he's challenged in leadership, he'll change and he'll start bucking heads like rams. And he will go for it in that manner like that. And this is something that's very dangerous. And the people of knowledge, they mention that حب الرياسة is actually a shahwa al-khafiyya. Ash-shahwa al-khafiyya is a hidden type of lust and desire that is in the heart, and a believer has to strive to remove that from him, especially a student of knowledge, and to be aware of that and to identify that, and if it comes up in his heart, to fight it and to remove it. And what has been mentioned from the Salaf is an amazing statement, that one of them, they would say that آخر ما ينزع من قلوب الصالحين حب الرياسة. حب الرياسة آخر ما ينزع من قلوب الصالحين حب الرياسة. The last foul trait that is stripped from the hearts of the righteous is the love of leadership. the last trait to go. They'll purify themselves from this trait and this trait and that trait. They can purify their heart from this lowly trait and that lowly trait. Maybe self-amazement, maybe this and the last one to go is the love of leadership. Is the love of leadership, the love of having position and authority, the love of having position and authority. So this is something that is very, very important. That a person, he will not seek that, and he will not look for that, especially not at a young age, especially not in the beginning stages of seeking knowledge, because that will deter him and be a reason or a means for him to miss out on lots of knowledge and lots of benefit. On lots of knowledge and lots of benefit. Even if he didn't become arrogant and he continued to learn, like which is advised, he will not have all of the free time that he needs to continue. He will not have the free time that he needs to seek knowledge and to gain the understanding that he needs and to become firm. So this will be a deterrent for him. And this is the point here, to benefit from the time. So a believer, his goal in learning knowledge is not to become a leader, but amongst the people, but to become humble and to apply his knowledge. And this is his goal, is to apply his knowledge, not to be known for his knowledge, but to apply his knowledge. And it has been narrated from Malik ibn Dinar. Malik ibn Dinar, rahimahullah, he died in the year 127. He said, "Man ta'allama al-ilma lil-amali kasarahu. Man ta'allama al-ilma lil-amali kasarahu. Wa man ta'allamahu li ghayri al-amali zadahu fakhra." Zadahu fakhra. That whoever learns the knowledge, whoever seeks knowledge for the sake of applying that knowledge, then it will break him. The knowledge will break him, meaning it will humble him. It will purify him and it will cleanse him, and it will make him better, and he'll be upright, and he'll be noble, and he'll be humble, and he'll be seen in his statements and his actions. He'll be seen in his conduct and his manners and his dealings with his family and with his friends and companions and with those he comes into contact with. It will be seen on him. It will break him. It will break him. It will break the arrogance in him and remove that. And likewise, the enmity or the love for desires or the to follow one's whims and the likes like this. It will break his soul until he complies and submits to the command of Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is for the one who seeks knowledge with the intention to learn, to apply it. He seeks the knowledge with the intention to apply it. As for the one who seeks knowledge for another reason, other than applying it, it will not increase him in anything except for pride and arrogance. This is something dangerous. So again, it goes back to the intention that a believer, a student of knowledge, he has to always observe his attention, and it's not something that he will do one time. The intention in seeking knowledge specifically is something that one must review and check and evaluate and go over time after time and day after day. Maybe he'll be sincere today, and if he's not careful, he'll be showing off tomorrow. Maybe he'll be humble today. If he's not careful, he'll be arrogant and proud tomorrow. This is what will happen. And this goes back again to that statement that has been repeated a number of times from Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah ta'ala, مَا عَالَجْتُ شَيْئًا أَشَدَّ عَلَيَّ مِنْ نِيَّتِي فَإِنَّهَا تَتَقَلَّبُ عَلَيَّ. I have not treated anything that is more harsh upon me than my own intention, because indeed it's always changing on me. So to not look for leadership, to not want to be the leader or to be in the head, but rather to apply the knowledge. It has come in the poetry of Abi Ishaq al-Albiri, rahimahullah, that he said, وَإِذَا أَخَذْتَ فِيهِ طُولَ بَاعٍ وَقَالَ النَّاسُ إِنَّكَ قَدْ سَبَقْتَ فَلَا تَأْمَنْ سُؤَالَ اللَّهِ عَنْهُ بِتَوْبِيكٍ عَلِمْتَ فَهَلْ عَمِلْتَ. He said, and if you reach a high status and the people say, indeed, he's in the front and he has preceded everyone in leadership and authority, he has obtained a lot of knowledge, and the people are praising him and realizing his status, then do not feel safe from the accountability in front of Allah. And whenever he will ask you in disgrace that you knew, so did you apply it? فَعَلِمْتَ فَهَلْ عَمِلْتَ عَلِمْتَ فَهَلْ عَمِلْتَ. This is a question that a student is going to be asked about. That you knew now. Did you apply it? And then he mentioned after that, he says, وَرَأْسُ الْعِلْمِ تَقْوَى اللَّهِ حَقًّا وَلَيْسَ بِأَنْ يُقَالَ لَقَدْ رَأَسْتَ. وَرَأْسُ الْعِلْمِ تَقْوَى اللَّهِ حَقًّا وَلَيْسَ بِأَنْ يُقَالَ لَقَدْ رَأَسْتَ. He said, and the head of knowledge, truthfully, is piety and the fear of Allah. Not to be considered that you are the head. The head of knowledge, in truth, is piety, is taqwa, the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, not that you're considered the head or the leader. This is the head of knowledge. The head of knowledge is to apply that and to abide by the commandments of Allah Azza wa Jal in public and in private. Not that the people will consider him a leader or a head. This is in reality going to be failure. Going to be failure. And this is the ways of the Jews. They're the ones who had misused the knowledge for a miserly worldly profit and gain. And they had deceived the people in that manner. So those likewise who use the knowledge of the religion and the position and status and rank in the deen to obtain worldly life, they're the ones who have the resemblance to the Jews, waliyadhu billah, from this ummah. So this is something that a student of knowledge, he must be aware of. First and foremost, to not seek leadership, and then to benefit from his time. And if the leadership comes, then he will have to bear that and hold that and fulfill that responsibility. But it's not something he will seek after. It's not something he will look for. It's not something he will strive for and fight for, and the likes like this. So after this, the author, he says, وَيَعْتَنِي بِتَصْحِيحِ دَرْسِهِ الَّذِي يَحْفَظُهُ تَصْحِيحًا مُتْقَنًا وَيُكَرِّرُهُ مَرَّاتٍ لِيَرْسُخَ رُسُوخًا مُتَأَكَّدًا ثم يراعيه بحيث لا يزال محفوظا جيدا وليذاكر محفوظاته وليدم الفقر فيها. So he says now, and it's incumbent for the student likewise to correct his lesson and in the knowledge that he is learning, to correct his lesson that he's going to memorize, and to correct it precisely. Meaning, if he has taken a note or taken a benefit, then he will make sure that it's correct and that it's right. Or if he's going to memorize something, he'll make sure that what he's memorizing from is precise and correct before memorizing it. Meaning, if he's memorizing a particular text, he'll make sure that it's the proper text to memorize from. Especially in these days, we have different prints, and printing books has become a type of business, and people get lots of money with printing books. So the people of knowledge, they're aware of this, and there are prints that are called tijariya, and there are prints that are called ilmiya. And there are prints of books that are known to the people of knowledge that this is just for business, and it has no academic value. And then there are other prints of books that are very high quality, and they have been checked and they have been cared for and concerned for from the academic aspect, and they're reliable. Prints. Before the printing press, they would have manners of verifying and checking, and their principles with regards to this whenever they would take knowledge, before they could narrate from a particular parchment or narrations that they had written down, that they heard from their teacher, they would have to verify that with a number of other prints first and to check it precisely, and then from there they will be able to narrate, or they'll be able to memorize, and the likes like this. So in our days, we have the printing press, but there are prints that are reliable and there are prints that are not reliable. There are prints that are cheap and there are prints that are not cheap, and cheap in this quality. Not necessarily in the price, maybe in the price too. But the point is that to make sure, if a person is going to memorize a particular text, to ask the people of knowledge about that text first, to know if it's the proper one to memorize in the stage that particular student is at, and that particular student is at, and then also to verify what is the best text to memorize from, what is the best print to memorize from, and the likes like this. And also, if that's the case, he's going to verify the text he's memorizing from, then likewise he has to verify his memorization. And this also is something that we see that is a problem, particularly with some of our youth today, that they'll memorize something that's from the most clearest of text and the most authenticated, and that is the Mus'haf, and that is the Noble Quran. But their memorization is very weak. And they may memorize many pages or many ajza and many portions of the Quran, but whenever you listen to it, they're skipping many letters and words, or the harakat is not precise, and they just memorize it in a fast and very lazy manner. And then if you listen to it, it's as if they didn't even memorize, or they're reciting something it's not even proper. So to memorize the Quran, yes, but to memorize it precisely, to memorize it precisely, not to rush through it and to recite it super fast and tell a person he will skip letters or skip words or mispronounce letters or mispronounce the i'rab and the likes like this, and then memorize it like that. La, he will want to memorize it precisely. Memorize it precisely and do it properly for the sake of Allah, and memorize it the way that it was revealed. The way that it is revealed. Likewise, memorizing the text. He will not just race through it and be just spitting the words out and the likes like this, but rather he will memorize it properly. He'll memorize it properly, just as it is. And many times this will require to say it slowly. To say it slowly. If a person, he can say it slowly and he memorizes it slowly, then it's easy for him to say it fast. It'll be easy for him to review it later fast. But if he learns it fast, many times he will never be able to say it slowly. If he memorizes something fast, and the way that he memorizes it is fast like this, he will not be able later on. Tell him, slow down. He'll get mixed up and he'll get lost easy. He'll get mixed up and he'll get lost easy. I know individuals in Medina that were with me, they memorized the whole Quran before they came to Medina. And then I seen them with a teacher, and they're memorizing again. I said, I thought you memorized the whole Quran. He said, yeah, but I memorized fast. So I thought he said he memorized fast, like he memorized in a short period. But he said, no, I memorized fast. So he recited to me. So he recited so fast. But it's like, it's not the Quran. It was something else. And if you tell him to recite that same portion slow, he can't do it. It's all just some mixed up stuff that he recited fast, and it's in his mind like that. But whenever he tried to recite it slow, he will not be able to benefit from that. And then if it's in this manner, you can't derive any rulings or truly have the barakah and the blessing of that memorization. So he had to memorize the whole Quran again, slow, not fast, like that, memorizing it properly. So now it just slowed him down. It just slowed him down in a great manner. But the person who memorizes it and he's able to recite it slowly, then also he'll be able to recite it fast. If he needs to review, he wants to go over some pages a little bit quickly, not quickly in a manner that is going to be deficient in the tajweed or in the i'rab or in the likes like this, but in a manner recite it quickly, but properly. He'll be able to do that if he learned it slowly. But if he learned it fastly, many times he will not be able to go back the other way. And the point is not just to memorize something. The point is to benefit from what one memorizes. Especially the Quran. And likewise the other texts as well. So this is the point now. To make sure that what one is memorizing from is proper. Is proper. And the likes like this. And this is very important. And then he'll memorize it in that manner. And he'll repeat it over and over until it becomes... He said, لِيَرْسُخَ رُسُخًا مُتَأَكِّدًا. He'll repeat it over and over until it becomes firmly deep-rooted into his heart. This thing that he's memorizing. Meaning he'll repeat it over and over and over and over and over. Just like somebody who's grinding something, like somebody who has flour, somebody who has the barley and the sha'ir or the bur and the likes like this. In order for it to become daqiq, they have to put it in the thing and grind it over and over and over and over, and eventually it will become very fine, and it is called flour. So the barley becomes flour, the wheat becomes flour by grinding it over and over and over and over until it's called daqiq. Now it's called daqiq. Likewise the hifz, the memory, is the same way. How does the memory become daqiq? How does it become precise? By repeating over and over and over and over, repeating it properly over and over and over and over. So this requires to repeat and to make repetition. And also it's important to rectify the tongue, and reading the Arabic language, and to be able to get a person's tongue to go straight, especially for us in America. And this likewise requires a teacher, as we have seen before, that Al-Quran la yu'khadh an al-mushaf wa la an al-mushafiyin, that the Quran is not learned from the mushaf and not from those who learn from the mushaf, rather it's learned from a teacher. The teacher is going to look at you and tell you you're putting your mouth in the wrong place. Put your tongue here. Stop doing your lips like that. Like the teacher, he knows these rules. He knows the reason why that sound is wrong with that letter, because you put your tongue here and not there. Or you made your lips like this and not that. And the likes like this, because the letters, they have makharij, and they have sifat, and this all depends on how you move your mouth. on how you move your lips, how you move your tongue. If you put your tongue in the wrong place, it will make the letter sound wrong. If you put your tongue in another place, it will make it sound another way. If you make your lips in a certain manner, it will make the sound come out in this way. So the people of knowledge of this science, they know that, and they can help you, and they can shorten your learning and benefit you in a brief period like this. And this is very important. This is very important. And then likewise in the Arabic language as well, to be able to read. And the people of knowledge, they mentioned that which will help do this is to read a lot out loud to yourself. And to read out loud, to raise your voice a little bit. And you're not screaming, but to read with a loud voice whenever you're trying to memorize. And when you're trying to fix your tongue, likewise. Because sometimes the tongue, it doesn't want to go straight. But if you learn the rules from a teacher, and then you work on your mistakes and try to fix them, then the tongue will go straight. And you seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jalla, it will go straight. It will get better. It will get better, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And then also, if you read out loud and repeat it over and over out loud to yourself, then it will become firmer in the heart. The people of knowledge, they mentioned the one who wants to memorize, then he will raise his voice in repetition. And the one who wants to comprehend and reflect and understand and derive benefits, then he will lower his voice. He will lower his voice. And so to lower the voice, to think and to ponder and to try to get the understanding to go in the heart. This will be by lowering the voice and thinking and reflecting. And as for raising the voice, this is whenever a person he wants to memorize. And he will repeat like that with a voice that is raised. So this is what he's mentioning here. In order for that memorization to become firmly grounded and to become strong. And then after that, he will always, from time to time, go back over that which he memorized. If he memorized this chapter or that chapter or this juz'a or that juz'a, he has to go back and review it from time to time. And this is the hardest part of memorizing. The hardest part of memorizing is to have the time to review and to go over and review that which one already memorized. Memorizing something, sometimes a person, he can find it in himself and he can get his heart together and he can do it and he'll memorize it, and then it will be in his heart and he'll spend time and effort to do that. But if he's not careful and if he does not review it, it will go away quickly. But if he spends a little time from time to time, after a while, reviewing over and over and over, eventually it will stick. And the more a person reviews in the beginning, the less he'll have to review in the end. So if a person he reviews a whole bunch in the beginning, eventually it will become strong and firm in the mind, and then he will not have to review that particular portion as much. And like, for example, some portions that maybe somebody recites every day in the salah, those portions of the Quran are firm in his heart. If he did not recite them for a week or 2 weeks, maybe they will still be there when he wants to recite them. And the likes like this. Or the portions that he memorized from the Quran that he has recited many, many times. Maybe he could not recite them for a month or so, and then he could recite them and they'll still be there. But something else, maybe that he did not repeat that many times, then he tried to recall it. Maybe he could recall some of it, but he will not be able to continue. It will be choppy in his mind. It will be like he will not be able to recite it crisply. So therefore, this requires, after memorizing, to go over and to review that which one memorized in order for it to stay there and to be firm. And a person, he would not want to make that mistake of spending lots of effort and time to memorize something and then just letting it go. Somebody memorized, for example, Usul al-Thalatha, and he memorized it and recited the whole thing. And then he never recited it again. And then if you ask him to recite a portion of it, he does not know it. So maybe he will spend days or weeks memorizing that particular text and make a lot of effort and going through hardship and difficulty, and then reciting it to somebody, to a teacher, for example. And then after that, he never reviews it again, and it winds up lost, and he does not benefit from it whatsoever. This is failure. Or the 40 hadith, or the Qawaid al-Arba, or whatever the text may be, Al-Ha'iyah by Ibn Abi Dawood, the likes like this. Whatever one memorizes, he has to have time likewise to go back over and to review that from time to time. And the more he does that, then eventually the less he'll have to do it. That's the point. The more effort he shows in the beginning with regards to that, the easier it will become, and the less he will have to give attention to that particular text or that particular portion that he memorized. So he says he will always review that which he memorized, and he will constantly think and ponder over that. He will constantly think and ponder over that, and he will be reflecting. He'll be reflecting. So this portion here is about making sure that a person, he's whatever he's going to memorize and whatever he's going to learn, he makes sure that he has written it down properly, or that which is written for him is proper, or the print that he's using and the likes like this is correct, so that he does not memorize with mistakes and with errors. And then he's going to have to go back and memorize again, or to fix all those mistakes and those errors. And the people of knowledge, they have some things they say about this, and they say the students of knowledge, if they're not precise and they don't pay attention, then they will fall into error. And one of them will say, أقول له بكرا فيسمع خالدا ويكتبه زيدا ويقرأه عمرا. أقول له بكرا, I say to him Bakr, فيسمع خالدا, but he hears Khalid, ويكتبه زيدا, and he writes Zayd, ويقرأه عمرا. He didn't get it right in the first place. And if he's not paying attention, if he's not concerned about this issue here, this detail of correcting the knowledge and making sure that it's proper and precise and correct, and this is what happened. You say Bakr, and he hears Khalid, and then when he writes it down, it's Zayd, and then when he reads it to you, it's Amr, and he's all mixed up. He's not paying attention, he's not hearing it properly, he's not totally focused, and the likes like this. And this is from the wahm that this occurs in knowledge. This occurs in knowledge, especially if a person who doesn't review it and the likes like this. This is something that can happen. So the advice here is to review it and to go over it. To make sure that it is proper. He says, وَيَنْبَغِي أَنْ يَبْدَأَ مِنْ دُرُوسِهِ وَفِي الْحِفْظِ وَالتَّكْرَارِ وَالْمُطَالَعَةِ بِالْأَهَمِّ فَالْأَهَمِّ. And it's incumbent likewise that he begins in his lessons that he's studying, and likewise in that which he memorizes, and that which he repeats, and that which he reviews and studies and goes over, and that which he researches and reads about, with that which is most important, and then that which is most important. And he's speaking again of the issue of prioritizing. We have discussed this in a bit of detail previously, so this has preceded the great obligation with regards to seeking knowledge of prioritizing, beginning with that which is an obligation first and foremost, and that which is most obligatory, and then showing preference to that, learning that and mastering that, memorizing that and reviewing that, and learning the details of that, and then moving to that which is after that in importance and an obligation. And an obligation. So this is no doubt from the great advices with regards to seeking knowledge, and also this is from the way that the seeking knowledge could be in accordance to the Sunnah. And from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to learn and to teach in this manner. And this is how the revelation was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Likewise, Adham fal Aham. For the first thing that's revealed to him is Tawheed. And the first thing that he taught his companion ﷺ was Tawheed, and the proper creed, and the proper belief in Allah and in the last day. And then he's striving to teach this and to make this firm in their hearts for 10 years. After that, the next important thing was revealed and was taught and was learned and was taught and spread, and that's the Salah. After that, and likewise, this is the manner that the Prophet ﷺ he mentioned when he sent Mu'adh to Yemen. فَلْيَكُنْ أَوَّلَ مَا تَدْعُهُمْ إِلَيْهِ أَنْ يُوَحِّدَ اللَّهِ. In some wordings, شَهَادَةُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, like this. And need to begin with Tawheed, and with the foundation and the fundamentals of the religion, and then after that with the Salat. فَإِنْهُمْ أَطَاعُوكَ لِذَلِكَ فَعَلِمْهُمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ افترض عَلَيْهِمْ خَمْسَ صَلَوَاتٍ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمٍ وَلَيْلَةٍ, like this until the end of the hadith. So to begin with that which is most important in learning and memorizing and studying and reviewing and researching, and then with that which is most important after that. So the whole religion is important. There's nothing in the religion that's not important. And as Imam Malik he mentioned rahimahullah, لَيْسَ فِي الدِّينِ شَيْءٌ خَفِيفٌ. There's nothing in the religion that's considered light. There's nothing in the religion that's considered light. And everything in the religion is heavy. وَإِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. Allah he mentioned to his Prophet ﷺ, indeed we're going to reveal to you a heavy statement, some heavy speech. The religion of Allah Azza wa Jal is heavy. But from that, there is that which is most important, and that which takes precedence. And that's the point. All of it is heavy, and all of it is important, and all of it is beneficial, but there is that which is most important, and there is that which takes precedence and comes first. So a student of knowledge will begin with that, and he will strive to obtain that, and to learn that, and to abide by that, and then move in this manner. Bit-tadarruj. This is also very, very important, and also a sign of sincerity, that a person he will hope to learn that which is most obligatory upon him first, and then to apply that. In our previous class, we have seen an example of of the humbleness of one of the great scholars of hadith, Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, and likewise the benefit of having a noble student who approaches him in the proper manner. And we mentioned the issue of Abdullah ibn Wahab, rahimahullah ta'ala, whenever he heard Imam Malik, rahimahullah, asked about making the takhleel al-asabi'. Takhleel al-asabi'. It was actually asabi' al-rijlain. And to correct that, or to make it clear, asabi' al-rijlain. The mas'ala was about the asabi' al-rijlaini. So that we have the asabi', which is the fingers, but also the toes are called asabi'. The particular mas'ala that we're referring to was with regards to asabi' al-rijlaini, meaning the toes. So Abdullah ibn Wahab, rahimahullah, he heard Imam Malik asked about that, rahimahullah, and he said, لَيْسَ هَذَا عَلَى النَّاسِ. He said, this is not something that's obligatory upon the people. So Abdullah ibn Wahab, rahimahullah, he mentioned, انتظرت حتى خف الناس. So I waited until the people died down, and there's fewer or lesser people around him, and then I went to him. I said, إِنَّ لَنَا فِي ذَلِكَ سُنَّةً. He said, indeed we have a sunnah with regards to this. And then Imam Malik, he said, what do you have? So he narrated him a chain of narration to Mustawrid, radiyallahu anhu, that he saw the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam making the takhleel of the asabi' on his feet with his pinky, using his pinky sallallahu alayhi wasallam to put the water in between his toes. Whenever he mentioned to him the narration, he said, Inna hada la hasan. He said, Inna hada la hasan, wa ma sami'tu illa hadihi as-sa'ah. And I never heard this in my life until this moment now. And he benefiting from his student, and also mentioning that he was unaware of that until this moment. And then Abdullah ibn Wahab, rahimahullah, he mentioned later on after that he heard Imam Malik making the fatwa and teaching the people this particular benefit and narration. So I wanted to correct that, or to clarify that. That was with regards to asabi' al-rijlain. Anybody have any questions or comments or corrections to discuss with regards to that which has preceded? We're getting close to the end of the book, inshallah. We finish in a class or two, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But we don't have much time to continue the topic now. Questions? No? Benefit? Who knows a benefit from anything you learned from this work? Anything you heard beneficial from this work? No. They asked about, is it possible to memorize the Quran after the age of, I don't remember, 50 or 60 like this? And he mentioned, yes, and I'm one of them. Yes, and I'm one of them. Meaning that he memorized like this in the old age. And Allah knows best. If a person, we discussed this topic. This is what he's going to discuss now, memorizing the Quran. And we'll begin this tomorrow, inshallah, the issue of memorizing the Quran, and how that will be bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Who memorized the narration of Sufyan al-Thawri about the niyyah? I've said it maybe 5 times. Hopefully, inshallah, you can memorize from hearing. There are many benefits that we used to hear from the people of knowledge that we don't read them in books, we memorize them because they say them over and over and over. And this was the way of the people of knowledge. Every time that point came, then that benefit goes with that point, it's mentioned. And a person, he wouldn't be like, oh, I said this already. La, they repeat it, and the knowledge is repeated in this manner. Ahsanta, Allahumma barik. Who said that? Sufyan al-Thawri. What's his kunya? That's extra. His kunya is his kunya. The kunya of Yusuf. Abu Abdullah. They call this kunyat al-muhaddithin. Abu Abdullah, kunyatu al-muhaddithin. Because so many of the muhaddithin, they have this kunya. Abu Abdullah, Al-Imam Ahmad, and Sufyan al-Thawri, and Al-Bukhari, and Al-Shafi'i, and a number of them. That's four, huh? That's four right there. A number of them. Imam Malik, I think, also is Abu Abdullah. Kunyatul Muhaddithin. Ahsanta, what does that mean? Translate. Tarjum. No, the athar. It's always changing on me. تتقلب علي. تتقلب من القلب. People of knowledge, they say the qalb is called qalb because it's always changing. One time you're happy, next time you're sad, one time you're smiling, next time you're like this. The heart is always changing. So that's why it's called the qalb. That's why you say, Ya Allahumma ya muqalliba al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik, because the heart is always changing. So it needs to be firm. So the intention is like that. It's always changing. Likewise, if a person doesn't check it, it will change on him. It will change on him, and maybe he will not realize until it's too late. Until it's too late. And this is similar like deviation. The intention deviates. So he's going to be sincere for the sake of Allah, or he's going to deviate and be for the sake of something else. You understand that? So it starts out small, but whereas if it's not corrected, in the end it's far. It's far. Like somebody who's a builder. If you know about building, and you put studs in the wall and the likes like this, if it's off at the bottom by a millimeter, by the time it gets to the top, the stud is far off on the side. It's just off in the bottom a little bit, but at the end, it's off a long ways. It's off a long ways. This is the case. Likewise, for example, somebody bowls a bowling ball, it gets off just a little bit at the beginning, and at the end it's in the gutter. It's in the gutter. The same thing with the intention. If a person doesn't correct it, it will go away like this. It will go away like that, and it will be far away. It will be far away, and then he'll be bucking heads. He'll be bucking heads with the people, like Sufyan al-Thawri. He mentioned وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. So this is something that requires mu'alaja. There's a benefit in that. He said, مَا عَالَجْتُ شَيْئًا. What do we benefit from that? ما عالجت شيئا أشد عليه. Jihad, mujahada, but mu'alaja, and mu'alaja is a treatment. So he's talking about treating himself. So the mu'alaja, the word he used is very suitable, and it shows that he is like the people of knowledge. They say the scholars, they are atibba al-qulub. And this word is actually the word the doctors use. وَالطَّبِيبُ هُوَ الَّذِي يُعَالِجُ الْمَرَضَى. He's the one who treats the sick people. But here it's not the sickness of the body, it's the sickness of the heart. It has to be treated. So there has to be treatment. The heart has to be treated. مَا عَالَجْتُ شَيْئًا. And from عَالَجَ يُعَالِجُ عَالِج مُعَالَجَةً وَعِلَاجًا. Al-ilaj is the treatment. So this requires time after time treatment. Sometimes maybe somebody has an illness in the body. He won't just take medicine like that and goes away. He'll not just do one thing. No, he'll have to require treatment. He'll have to take the medicine for a period, until it takes effect. Or you have to do other affairs, and in his treatment follow a particular prescription for some time, and then inshallah his cure will come and the illness will go away. So that's the same thing with the heart. It requires treatment. It requires treatment to remember Allah, and to remember the last day, and to remember the standing before Allah, and to remember the accountability, to remember that this life is going to go away, and that everything in this life is a brief enjoyment, and that that which remains is with Allah Azza wa Jalla, that we're not created for this life, but whether we're going to go away and be held accountable. To remember all of these things, and to treat oneself with tawheed, to treat one's heart with tawheed. That's the treatment for the heart, and that's the treatment for the intention. The reality of the intention is tahqiq al-tawheed. To actualize and to fulfill the rights of Tawheed, and that the heart is devoted to Allah and nothing else. and that the heart is hoping for the reward of Allah and nothing else, and that the heart is hoping for the favor and the blessing of Allah and nothing else, to be safe with Allah Azza wa Jal, to be safe in Dar as-Salam with As-Salam subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is what he will hope for. And then from the examples of how that will be is like what Imam Shafi'i mentioned rahimahullah. He says, I wish that the people would take this knowledge that's in these books and not ascribe none of it to me. And not ascribe none of it to me. I never debated with anybody except I wish that the truth would appear on his tongue. On his tongue. And so the point is that the truth will be spread, and that the deen of Allah will be raised, and that the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam be established, no matter who said it. No matter who said it. So he's not looking to belittle the people and put them down and overcome them. Rather, he's looking to guide them and help them so the truth comes from them. So the truth comes from them. And this is the case. You need to spread the knowledge so that the enemies become your aiders and supporters. So that the enemies become your aiders and supporters. So that the ignorant people, they become upright and strong. So that the people who are misguided or deviant become steadfast and upright. And this is the goal. Or at least the people will be safe from them because the knowledge is there. And if this is the case, you need to spread the goodness and to benefit the people and to establish the deen of Allah, to raise the kalimat Allah. لِتَكُونَ كَلِمَةَ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا. This is the jihad, with the sword and with the pen. لِتَكُونَ كَلِمَةَ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.